The Fiat 500 has always been a great city car, whether in its original 1950s version or its more modern versions. Similarly, EVs feel most at home in towns or cities. Now, what happens when you mix the two together? You get this, the electric Fiat 500. Could this be the perfect city car? Before we get into any further details, if you go on to like this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The electric Fiat 500 still maintains the same look as the 2007 relaunch, which echoes the lines of the first version from 1957. It's still a really cute two-door car, although nowhere near as small as the original, which would be virtually impossible given today's safety regulations. One of the headlines about the Fiat 500 electric is that the starting price is cheap, really cheap. The entry-level hatchback is just £20,495. Another headline is that there is a soft-top version too. There are 4 hatchback trim levels and 3 cabrios. The entry-level 500 Action keeps the cost down by not having a central media screen, instead relying on your smartphone, with a built-in cradle for this. It also only includes a 24 kilowatt-hour battery and a 93 HP motor. Move up to the Passion and you do get a 7-inch screen, but this is meant for wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. The battery is also a much larger 42 kilowatt-hour battery with an 118 HP motor. The icon we have here adds a 10.25-inch screen with a built-in sat-nav and a DAB radio, plus keyless entry. The La Prima model adds LED lights, a panoramic sunroof, and premium interiors. You also get 17-inch alloys, Fiat co-driver autonomous level 2 driving, and a rear parking camera. All the other cars get 15 or 16-inch wheels, starting with steel for the Action and Passion, but alloys for the Icon. The Cabrio isn't available with the entry-level Action trim, just the other 3 trim levels. The seats are made from a recycled material called Sequel. 100% recycled, 10% from the sea. It's actually very comfortable. You wouldn't have noticed the difference in the material had I not told you. So they're mechanically adjusted, but there are some versions where you can get heated seats. So you've got a cup holder, you've got a cubby hole down here, you have got some USB ports. Despite this being an electric vehicle and you do need some wires, they kind of wanted to remove as many cables in here as possible. So further up here, you have a wireless charging space. You only get wireless charging in the La Prima version though. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to get into the back seats now. Pull this down and pull this forward. There we go. Feel sorry if you have long legs, but otherwise, pretty comfortable. So here you've got ISOFIX points for child car seats, and you've got magazine holders for, you know, whatever it is kids are reading these days. It's a really small boot. It sits about 185 litres, which is somewhere between the Honda E and the Mini Electric. There's a little space under here for charging cables. You can, of course, make it bigger by dropping the rear seats down. That now gives you 550 litres, which is probably enough for a weekly shop, but you're not making any trips to IKEA in this. Something we forgot to mention, this car only has 2 rear seats. There are 2 battery options with the Fiat 500 electric, the 24 kilowatt hour and the 42 kilowatt hour. The former gives you just 115 miles, whereas the latter are much more useful 199 miles. As we've already mentioned, the 24 kilowatt hour is only with the Action trim. One thing Fiat wants to stress is that whichever version you have, you can charge it to 80% in about 30 to 35 minutes. The smaller battery has 50 kilowatt charging, but the larger one has 85. You have drive control buttons in the center of the front console here. There is a separate parking brake and a drive mode wheel. This car has standard stalks for windscreen wipers and indicators. The air conditioning has all its own discrete button. So there are 3 different drive modes. There's a standard, an economic mode, and a Sherpa mode, basically get me home. So we've got a round instrument display cluster. You've got speed in the middle, the remaining charge on the left. and then power or regeneration on the right. As we've already mentioned, the Action doesn't actually have a screen, it has a media cradle for your phone. So the Passion model gets a 7-inch screen which works through Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The Icon and the La Prima get this 10.25-inch screen. It has built-in DAB FM radio. You can operate some various modes of the air conditioning here, connect your phone, as we've already mentioned, and configure various bits of your car settings. And of course, it actually has a built-in sat-nav in this version. None of these cars are particularly fast. So the cars with the bigger batteries take about 9 seconds to reach 62 miles per hour, but the Action with the smaller battery, it's only about half a second slower. So this is no Abarth hot hatch, but it's fast enough for an inner city car. I actually really like it. I'm so surprised by how smooth and responsive it is. I'm constantly being a little bit heavy with my braking foot. I'm not used to how sensitive this is. I really like it though. For city usage, it's perfect. It's so responsive, so smooth, which is definitely what you're going to want, as we've already had some crazy drivers on the road. I'm loving it so far. So one of the reasons cars are so much bigger now than they used to be is safety regulations. 500 has autonomous braking on all versions. There's driver fatigue warning and there's lane keeping assistance on all versions too. So Fiat really wants you to know they are the only ones that offer level 2 autonomous driving in an inner city car. So let's talk about one of Fiat's star features. Its price. Despite its obvious range and media limitations, the Action's £20,500 price. If you just want a cheap second car EV, then it's hard to beat. The Passion is considerably more expensive at just under 24k. The Icon is just under 25.5k, and the Prima is just under 27.5k. You pay $2,650 extra for the Cabrio versions. So the price range is from $26,645 to about 30k. So the Cabrio is the obvious unique car here because there aren't any other open-top EVs on the market. But all these cars are a bit of a bargain. The MG5 EV has a little bit more range and a lot more practical space for luggage and passengers. Overall, I like it. It's a little small. It's a little small. If you have long legs, I think you're going to struggle just a little bit. But for an inner city car, I really can't complain. You don't want something huge to try and navigate through the tiny city roads. Ever since we heard about the Fiat 500 electric, it showed promise. The Action trim sets a new level for EV affordability. Although you can't buy it intending to go more than a short distance from your home. The other versions are much more flexible. They're not fast, but they're great value. The Fiat 500 electric is a great little EV for a keen price. Ideal for the younger generation or as a second family car. Highly recommend. Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and post a comment down below.